Thanks so much for joining. Greetings from LA. I work with American University, and I wanted to discuss the different programs we have at American University. And as Kieran said as well, we have two options. We have an American University pathway, and we have an American Collegiate program, which is a transfer program. There are two different programs, which I'll discuss. Any questions you have, we can go through that while after I'm chatting. If you'd like to stop me, please feel free. So American University has a wonderful brand. I'm sure you all know. It's 77 in the United States. So, that's the cat. Knew that was going to happen. Hold on. There we go. So, has a great brand, top 100. And I think for those of you that want to go into international diplomacy, I don't know anyone who's considering that or thinking about that. American University is very famous for its international diplomacy, international relations school. It has a top 10 ranking in its foreign diplomacy program, basically. So any of you that are interested, getting involved in foreign affairs and journalism and international relations, it's a fantastic program. So AMU. Anyone that has been to DC, it is not far at all from, you can see the center of Washington, DC. You can see here the Google Maps. It's like a 15-minute metro ride to the center of DC, maybe 20 minutes. It is not far at all. DC, a lot of students, I'm not sure if you're aware or most students are aware, some are not. DC is home to some absolutely incredibly elite institutions. If you're thinking about our transfer program as well, you have Johns Hopkins over in Baltimore, not far away, about an hour away. You have Georgetown right here, and then you have American University, and then also you have George Washington University. Those are the most popular top 100 institutions right in the kind of general DC area, if you're thinking about, where to study at some great schools. I'd say the most important thing, if you think about American University and you're thinking what makes it famous, what makes it really, really special, I'd actually like to say, you might not expect this, but it is the fact that it's private. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't consider public institutions when you're looking at applications, but American University is a private institution and it's in the top 100. You may not know this, but all of the top 20 in the rankings for 2020 are private. So there are amazing public institutions, but if you're thinking about the most elite institutions in the United States, a private institution carries a lot of weight, let's say. And the reason private institutions are usually so highly ranked, or the educational quality is so good, is because of the student to faculty ratio. So you can see 12-1. I went to a private institution, when I went to college, and I can tell you that you're going to get a level of interaction with your professors at a private institution that you wouldn't get at a public institution until later in your degree. Private institution, it's right from the start. So I'd say American University has an incredible level of interaction that you will have with your professors. That is why the education is so well reputed. If you're looking at overall undergraduate majors, American University has essentially the full suite, except for engineering. So those of you that are engineering focused, you can still do this program, the International Accelerator. It's International Pathway Program. But then we do a transfer program where you would finish your engineering degree elsewhere. Pretty much every other degree you can do at American University. And like I said before, if you look, this School of International Service is probably their most elite program. It is top 10 in the United States. It is a very, very elite program. Those of you interested. And then, of course, they have many other programs and majors available to you. These are the two programs we offer through our International Accelerator at American University. Forget the word accelerator. It just means pathway, okay? So pathway means you're not directly admitted to the university. It means you would go into a pathway I-20 or a non-degree I-20. Now, so when you're speaking with Kieran and you're speaking with mom and dad and your agency, just understand that is totally normal for international students. Just because you're not directly admitted does not mean anything bad. The credits you're going to be doing in either of these programs are identical to year one at American University. And then it's your decision what you do with those credits, basically. And we'll talk about that. So let's first look at the International Accelerator. This is what we call our pathway program. International Accelerator, our pathway program, what I want you to remember is the goal of this program is if you know you want to stay at American and you don't have a doubt in your mind, okay? That's what I want you to remember. So when you think pathway, I just want you to think staying at American University and nothing else. Your dream is to go to American University. You want to go for 1 year in our pathway and then finish your degree at American University, right? We have two main academic options here. One is a 2-term program and one is a 3-term program. They both go to year 2 after you're done with the pathway, okay? So that's what I want you to remember. And then we also have a pre-sessional English program as well. If your English is below a 5.5 IELTS. I'll come back to this. And please, Kieran, tell me to slow down or if I need to answer anything. I'll get back to this for sure. Like I highlighted in red for you, I want you to think about pathway means you only want American University. That's the key of this slide. And the goal is progression to AMU, to American. Notice I said the word progression, okay? So when you go to a pathway and you go to the 2nd year at American University, it's actually considered progression. When you go to American Collegiate, which we'll talk about, it's a transfer program. It's actually transfer to AMU. And we'll talk about kind of the pros and cons, the differences of each of those options. American Collegiate is the same thing in that 1 year of credit at American University. So I'll repeat, whether you do the pathway or you do American Collegiate, you're getting 1 year of American University credit. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, what you do with that credit is what makes these two programs different in your intention, basically. American Collegiate, the type of student you might want AMU, or let's say you still consider top 50 or other institutions in the top 100, we guide you on transfer, not only to American, but to anywhere else in the United States. So this is a slightly different intention. Let's look at American Collegiate in a little bit more detail. I'm only going to talk a little bit about the LA program. I don't want to distract you, but basically American Collegiate, just think of it as a transfer program that we offer at American University, and we also have an LA option. So 2 options, right? All right, so this is where it gets exciting for you. I wish I had this option when I was a student. So let's look at this. This is a 1+3 transfer program. Now you probably know about transfer in the United States. You probably are thinking community colleges are typically 2+2 transfer. This is a 1+3 transfer. There is no right way to transfer. There's no right number. You don't have to do 2 plus 2. Doing 1 plus 3 is actually no different from 2 plus 2. The only difference is that if you do 2 plus 2, you are able to apply to every single university and college in the United States after 2 years of credit. You're eligible to apply as a transfer student. If you apply 1 plus 3, you're eligible to apply to almost every single university and college in the United States, except for the University of California system. So the only thing you cannot do after this program is apply to UC. Now, maybe some of you think, oh, my dream is to go to University of California after the first year. I need to go to University of California. University of California has a very strong brand. That's for sure, has a very well-known brand. But just so you know, I have to say this, there are only 2 UC campuses in the top 30. There are no UC campuses in the top 20. UCLA is the best ranked UC campus in the top 20. So what does that mean? Remember, I told you before about private institutions being elite, and the top 20 in the United States are elite. If you want the very, very, very best in the United States, they're not UC. So that's no offense to anyone that wants to go to UC. UC is incredibly elite, incredibly competitive. Kieran can tell you that. It's very hard to get into UC directly from high school, but UC is not the only option. Basically what we're saying in the top 20 and the top 30, we're saying all the Ivy Leagues are available to you. Every single Ivy League is possible after 1 year of credit. Stanford, MIT, Caltech, all of these really top schools. And in fact, most students that come to our program, they want NYU and USC. University of Southern California and NYU are probably the 2 most popular programs from American Collegiate. And we've had multiple students admitted to both. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Kieran, I actually have a question. Well, no, I'm going to do a hypothetical because I don't want to take up time, but I'm going to ask a hypothetical question, or I say rhetorical is the best way to put it. And then I'm going to answer it myself. And then I'd love to talk with them after. But why do you think it's easier to get in year 2 to your dream school as a transfer student than it is to apply directly from high school, whether you're in the United States or overseas in high school? Funny, good answer. Pretending you answered. So if you get this, what I'm about to say right now, you can ignore everything I said before. But if you get this one answer, you will get the whole presentation, the whole point of the presentation. In year 2, every college and university loses students due to attrition. It's called attrition. So every college and university, even Princeton, they lose students just because. So students, they leave themselves, they run out of money, they transfer. There are open spaces in year 2 that were not open in year 1. So what that means is universities and colleges need you more in year 2. Therefore, they lower entry criteria to admit you in a space that they need to fill. And think about this in your head. What do you think a transfer institution like NYU is thinking when you have American university credit in your hands and you have an A- to A average in your grades, and of course you're all going to get A's, right? So you have good grades and you're applying as a transfer student for an open space that they need to fill. You can see what I'm saying. It increases the likelihood of being admitted because you're a transfer student. In fact, transfer admission rates on average are about twice what the direct admission rates are. It's a much more strategic way to apply. It's easier, it's not easy. Let's look at what you should expect to get in our program if you want to go where you want to go. The great thing, and we're going to talk about this, is if you want to stay at American University, you only need a 3.0 GPA. You don't need an SAT. You don't need a TOEFL. And all you have to do is complete our program and be in good academic standing. So you will know, and I'll show you later, you will know you can go to American University after this program. No problem. Just get a 3.0, you're admitted, okay? If you want to go to top 50, top 30, you will need SAT and TOEFL or ACT and IELTS. It depends on the institution. We are going to be there every step of the way, guiding you, helping you on advising when to apply, how to apply. It is complicated, but we're going to be there supporting you. And it's completely free. The tutoring we offer and advising is completely free. So if you need an SAT and if you need another TOEFL, free. That is a great benefit of this program, that you're getting free advising and free tutoring. Just so you know, transferring is cool. President Obama was a transfer student, and he did not transfer from a community college. He went from a liberal arts college actually out here in LA, near Pasadena. It's called Occidental, and he transferred to Columbia. In fact, 30% of all students transfer every year, domestic and international. It's super common. It's super cool. It's not abnormal. It's very, very common. Kieran can tell you that we have plenty of friends. We've known people that have transferred. I have plenty of friends that have transferred. It's normal. These are our transfer results to date, okay? These are only in the top 50. I'm actually being a little bit elitist, sorry. I'm only showing you top 50 because just think in your head, I'm going to show you. American University is almost a backup in your head. You should think of it that way. These are all of the results so far. We had some wait lists to some incredible top 20 institutions. Emory is the best ranked institution that we've received an offer for. And this year, I think we're going to have some absolutely unbelievable top 20 results. The American Collegiate program has only been running for 3 years now. So we are about to get the third year of results, which will mean getting in the top 20 in the third year is great. It's great for you as students if you're interested in going to a top school. This is the best part. This is the coolest part of this program. We have transfer agreements. Think of it as insurance throughout your entire process. And you know that at least with a 3.0 GPA, you're going to go to American after this program, at least, okay? And then you can see the rankings going on down. We have other partner institutions. There's also SUNY Binghamton in the top 100, ranked 79, where you know you'll be admitted with those GPAs. So I want to just focus on the first bullet. Don't worry about LA so much. The first bullet point is really the main crux of this program, and that is, this is top 100 starting credit, American University, top 100 transfer agreement, American University with a 3.0, and then you're getting top 50 transfer advising. Who doesn't want to do this program? If I were you, I would want to do this. You have nothing to lose. You know, when I tell students, I say, you have nothing to lose with this program. The only place you can go is at least a great institution like American, is the way I describe it to students. And, you know, I'm sure you're all great students. I'm sure none of you is in category 2, but who are the types of students for this program? So the one thing you need to agree with me on before you apply is you just need to know you don't need University of California. If you can accept that, then essentially every type of student applies here. Whether you're a strong student and you did really well in high school, but let's say you're just missing something. You know, you're missing something to apply to the top universities and you didn't get admitted directly for whatever reason. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, just means that you're missing something in your portfolio. Or let's say there might be some that are, well, you know, you have weak students where the GPA is low, but you have, you know, really ambitious and you have the desire. The beauty of this, as I say, is that credit in our program replaces any year before, essentially. So the way that transfer universities look at credit the year before, is that if you do credit from American University, it replaces high school or the year before if you're a university student, for example. So this is essentially starting over if you need to. Think of it that way. Fresh start. And then the third category, let's just say you need a year to decide where you want to go. You don't like where you are, or you just don't know where you want to apply directly from high school. This is a great time to just wait and think while we help you on major and transfer destination. Let's go back to comparing both the pathway and American Collegiate DC. Okay, this kind of summarizes the entry criteria, and I'll explain it if it's a little confusing. Now, American Collegiate can do everything on this chart, okay? Everything is available through American Collegiate, but only here, the pathway, what I'm saying here is the pathway, you need a minimum 3.0 GPA to apply, and you cannot be above a 6.0 IELTS is what I'm saying with the pathway here in this inner area. The outside, what I'm saying is through American Collegiate, you can actually be as low as a 2.5 GPA in high school, and your IELTS can be 6.5 plus with American Collegiate. The reason there are restrictions on the pathway entry criteria is because it's a pathway I-20. Now, there is one advantage to being in the pathway program. You probably look at this and say, why would I ever apply to the pathway? What's the point? Why wouldn't I just apply to American Collegiate? This is the advantage to being a pathway student. Your exit GPA to progress to American University from the pathway is only a 2.0 GPA, okay? So if you do the pathway and you already have the 3.0 from high school, you only need a 2.0 to get out of the pathway into American. You will all get a 2.0 in your sleep, right? But if you do American Collegiate DC and you want to transfer to American, you do need the 3.0. It's one level higher to get into American. I would still say if you can't get a 3.0 in university, you're probably something's going on. I would usually say to students that are ambitious, just showing up to class and doing your best, you probably get close to a 3.0. So I would not be scared off by a 3.0. As you saw before, if you want to go to the top universities and colleges, 3.0 is at least what you should be considering. So don't aim for 2.0. don't aim for 2.0. Aim for 3.0. But that is why the pathway is attractive to some students in terms of progressing to American. All right. These are the prices at American, so mom and dad can get ready to strangle me. This is the cost of 1 year, whether it's 2 terms or 3 terms, only tuition. So about $52,000, $53,000 in tuition for 1 year, approximately, if you're doing a 2-semester program. We do offer scholarships for strong students. We are looking at a GPA of at least a 3.0 for the scholarships. Depending on American Collegiate or the pathway, we can go some cases as high as $20,000 if your GPA is really, really good, and we can start at $10,000 off if your GPA is good. It kind of depends. Not all students get scholarships. It all depends. But what I tell students is don't expect a scholarship. Mom and dad should prepare for 4 years of incredibly expensive education. It is Washington, D.C. It's not a cheap place. It is almost as expensive as New York City, actually. D.C. is a very expensive place, but it's an amazing city. So it's definitely worth it. It's just very expensive. This is what your transcript will look like. So this is an American Collegiate transcript. The pathway transcript is almost identical, but the reason I'm showing this to you is these are American University credits. So this is not a pathway credit. This is not some kind of weird, international student, different transcript that you have to worry about. These are American university credits. So whether you use them to stay at American University in the pathway, or whether you use them to transfer, these are top 100 credits from American University. Okay, just so that's why I'm showing this to you. And we're actually almost done. I wanted to get your questions. I want to use the time, and Kieran, you can tell me how much time I have and what I need to go over. But we have two housing options. Through the pathway, we have housing, which is, let's go here. You can see here, the pathway has both on-campus and off-campus housing, right? So you'll be living at American University in some cases, and in some cases you're living in our off-campus program housing. To be totally transparent with you, so the pathway housing is closer to campus if you're living in the off-campus housing. You can walk to campus if you're in off-campus housing in the pathway. If you do American Collegiate, the transfer program, the housing is not walking distance. It's like 50 minutes. I know none of you will want to walk. There is a metro that is, I'd say 25-minute metro from the off-campus housing in American Collegiate to the main campus. So there are kind of pros and cons, right? If you do the collegiate program, a little bit longer commute. If you do the pathway program, you're closer in terms of walking distance. Of course, there's Uber everywhere. Like it's easy. Metro is everywhere in DC. And that's pretty much, it's only 30 minutes. I wanted to take the time. That's it. I wanted to take the time, Kieran, to answer questions that come up.
Yeah, that sounds good. I will, let me make sure that you're able to see me as well. Here, I'll cancel the spotlight. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Eric. That was really helpful. So I have some questions for you, but I'll save those for if we need them. If you have a question for us, please, you can send it in the chat, or I will essentially, between questions, ask for anyone to speak up who has something to say. So
yeah, and no questions off limits. Please ask me tough questions. I want you to try to stump me. I want people to express doubts or I want to try to help.
Well, we have a question. So how would the international services major work for international services? I think that's also a question of these internationally oriented global majors for people who are already not from the US.
So let's go back to the list of majors. It's a good question. So the internationals, let's go back to the majors list. So some majors are considered off limits to international students due to clearance with the government. But if you are doing this in terms of studying international relations, there are many ways to do majors at universities and colleges. Like, for example, aerospace engineering. They don't have it at American, but I'm going to give you an example. You could take aerospace engineering as an international student and do all of the theoretical and even many of the practical elements, as long as you're not given the government clearance to do stuff that's sensitive to the government. This is not to be personal with any of you. It's just the way our government is with certain majors. But you could do the theory. You could study the theory of international relations and foreign service. As long as it's not related to the American government, it's actually related to just foreign diplomacy. So the best, the diplomats at most of the embassies around the world, many of them come from American schools, American colleges, and they're getting their study in foreign service. They're just not learning the stuff that's related to the American government, if that makes sense. So you would be able to do, let's say, the really meaty, great aspects of this major, as long as you're not, too concerned with, as it relates to specifically the American government, which is boring. For some of you, you'll be fine. You'll be able to get all the best aspects of the major. That makes sense.
Right. It seems like it doesn't necessarily affect your academic activities. It's just you may hit a wall with the actual government policy if you want to work in the White House while studying.
Right.
international relations. But yeah, that's a good point. Does anyone else have a question? You can add it to the chat, or you can unmute and ask it out loud. Well, I'll ask my question then. So the rest of you can be thinking about this also while looking at this wonderful list of undergraduate majors. Let me see if what's on there. So my question is, well, more of a prompt. Could you talk a little bit more about the types of support, whether academic or social or practical, that students through American Collegiate or through the Pathway program could get while at American?
So why don't I do, let's go here. All right, so I'm going to first start as it relates to transfer advising, and then I'm going to talk about the pathway, what we do for students that know they want to stay at American. Right when you start at either program, so let's start with American Collegiate. Within 2 weeks of your arriving, we are going to sit down with you and try to identify with you what potential majors are you interested in, what potential destinations are you interested in transferring to. We make students apply to 5 to 10 different destinations actually with the American Collegiate program. So we will not let you only apply to one institution. You will apply to American, we'll make you apply to a few reach options, top 20 schools, middle range, safety schools. And in addition to the advising that starts in the second week, we're actually taking students to different cities. We bring universities and colleges to American Collegiate to discuss their programs as potential transfer destinations. We take students on trips. We will subsidize some of the trips. Some of them will pay the full fees, the total amount, and many of them we will subsidize a portion, so that we will organize events and tours that you can participate in through the program to go visit universities and colleges on your own, facilitated by us. Maybe we know people in the admissions department, so you can go meet with them. Or we take everyone to those universities. We just took students to NYU to visit the campus, just to talk to our contacts at admissions. So it's a mixture of bringing prospective universities and colleges to the campus and bringing students to those universities and colleges in different ways, either on their own or as a group. As I told you before, and you can see the tutoring is completely free. We do weekly tutoring. We have group sessions, we have individual sessions, we have set tutoring, and we also have, if students need more tutoring in a certain area, we can arrange private sessions for you. It all depends on what each student needs. And I mean, that in general is the American Collegiate program. Mm-hmm. The pathway, specific to the pathway, if we're going back here, whether you are in the 2-term program or in the 3-term program, all of our advising and support revolves around how to get you into American as a full-time student after, the first year. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So you are a full-time student in the pathway, but what I mean is how to get you to progress. So we know you only need a 2.0 GPA. So the key is not to aim for a 2.0 GPA. What we want you to do is we're helping you truly integrate with American University from very beginning. We want you to figure out how to pick classes. We want you to understand who are your advisors on campus, to really understand American University specifically, whereas with American Collegiate, we want you to understand the US education system, and American Collegiate is your way of doing it. The pathway is all about how to get you integrated with American University. So I'd say by the end of the first year, we have had many meetings with you advising you on major that you'd want to pursue at American University after that first year. And some majors you can declare even halfway through your first year. So it's actually quite common for students to pick early on. I would say in general, I caution all of you, don't focus on major until at least the end of the first year. Just do the general education classes and allow our team to guide you and support you. There is no rush. You don't have to declare your major at almost every college and university in the US until the end of your second year. I didn't declare my major until the end of the second year. So I know I said a lot of stuff, Kieran, but
Mhm.
is that
No, that's really helpful. And I also the same. I didn't declare I had a double major, and I didn't declare until my junior year, and one I didn't officially declare until my senior year.
right?
So there is time, and that's actually one thing that's really nice is even at some of these elite schools, private schools. I also went to a private school for my undergraduate degree.
Nice.
Even in those, some of those core classes that almost everyone has to take are pretty big, and that's not where you get the really differentiated instruction. That's where there's a huge difference between a public institution and an elite private institution. There's some, but for the most part, you have to work hard to get the attention of the teachers and the
Yep.
professors and stuff like that. And it's a little bit more of a general education, like it sounds like.
Yep.
So you can get that out of the way.
Yep.
And then when you transfer, say you transfer to a top 50 school, it sounds like you would be already at the level where you're in these smaller classrooms, more attention from the professors, and you can work on getting your GPA up and getting a feel for things while there's a little more freedom to do so in these big classrooms.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I tell students is you're doing only lower division, basically just freshman courses in the first year, which general education essentially. So not much is major specific in the very beginning. It's all just general classes.
Yeah. And of course, if you do, I've taken these larger classes that I took, because I had to, and then fell in love with the subject or really liked the professor and wanted to pursue those classes or that professor's classes more.
Yep.
With either of these programs, you could just fall in love with American University and stay.
Yeah, exactly. With a 3.0 GPA in Collegiate, you can transfer easily. With a 2.0 in the pathway, you progress to American.
Yeah, and I will back you up on if you are getting a 2 point something, there is probably an underlying issue, and you might want to get more help or consider what that is. A 3.0 is at least an achievable goal for almost anyone attending college, especially with the kind of support you would get through a program, either of these programs.
Totally agree. Yeah, like basically for everyone should not be scared off by a 3.0. I have students that say, how can I get a 3.0? I say, if you can't get a 3.0, we're not doing something right. You're not doing something right. We're not doing something right. Something is wrong.
Right. Do we have any other questions in the chat about American University or about either of these pathways to studying there or at UCLA or at UCLA Extension in LA? So I'm going to ask you a question that I get from clients and students all the time that is always extremely difficult to answer, but it is, what is American University like? Or the more specific question is, what are American University students like?
Yeah. Okay. Full transparency, folks. I'm from New Jersey. I'm going to tell you exactly what the American University students are like, and then the international American University students are like.
Okay.
So now, all of the international students at American University are usually so bright. I mean, like the international students at American University, actually getting into American University direct entry is incredibly difficult. I know they're ranked 77, which is good, like a good ranking, but the direct entry for international students, you have kids with, commonly achieving a 1400 SAT from high school going directly. The American University students are, I would say, good. I would say good students. They're not Ivy Leaguers. They're not, they're not top 40, top 30 students, of course, in terms of ranking. they're well off, just being honest. They're wealthy, but they're solid. I would say academically they're solid. They're definitely going to, usually they're going to do, have a good job, let's say. But they go to American university usually, either the students that are strongest, that are American citizens or American, are the international diplomacy students. Those kids are extremely ambitious. But I would say the international students are usually almost a little bit more competitive than the American students, but the American students are solid. If I'm giving you a transparent perspective, but you will not notice any of that, in your first year. For any student that's thinking about that, you would only notice that like in your junior year, it would start to resonate with you and register. Hey, these international students are really strong and the American students are good, but I can do this. But you would not notice any of that in the first year. Is that fair, Kieran? I hope I didn't mischaracterize.
I think that's fair. And I'm more familiar with DC itself, having lived there for a little bit. And DC is in general a place with a lot of very ambitious people, and really a place where you can get as involved as you want. And for people who are very, very driven, it's either a playground where it's the most wonderful thing in the world, or it is there's so much to do, so much you can do, that you can drive yourself pretty hard. And especially if you do the American Collegiate, you could start evaluating that for yourself. If not just American University, but DC is the place for you. And I think for a lot of people who are interested in looking at the world as a whole, or getting very invested in American governance and understanding that, whatever that might mean for your career, there is literally no other place like DC.
Agreed.
To visit, and it's also a great city. I really enjoy.
I feel like for international students, I could not think of a more international place in the United States. Like formally, it's the most international city, obviously, in the U.S. with all of the the embassies and everything. Of course, you have a lot of international students in New York, Chicago, L.A., but this is actually a place of international, community that makes up the city. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's not to talk too much about DC itself, but I'm sure the campus of American and DC downtown, if you're walking along, you'll pass groups of people speaking, and each group of people might be speaking a different language than the one before.
Totally.
It's not just very international, but these nations and these people and cultures coming together in a way that's really blended, rather than there's one place where certain people live, another place where certain people live.
Totally. Not segregated at all. I would say DC is super interesting international fabric, very sophisticated crowd.
And you'll see famous people.
Yeah. Yes.
We have a question. So is it true that American universities started overseas?
Oh, that's a good one. I know that American University was developed by, here's my answer. American University was developed by Congress, so the US Congress. It's actually, I don't know if it's the only university that was actually started by the government itself. It wasn't founded by Jesuits or, usually a lot of our universities and colleges were founded in the 1700s, 1800s by like missionaries or Jesuits. It's kind of a history, even though it isn't that now. Ivy Leagues, all that stuff is founded not by the US government. American University was actually created by the government. It has a very strong international campus presence. So you have an American University in Beirut, you have American University in the Emirates. Those are not the same as this American University, but it's complicated. They're affiliated, but the name, the brand has been around for a long time. Like in overseas, American University brand, this is what I'll answer you directly. I do believe it's the first overseas campus that was started, but in terms of the US, it wasn't started overseas.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a totally clear answer. Do we have any other questions from participants?
Should I go over deadlines, Kieran? Just like if people.
Sure, that would be useful. I mean, think people right now are planning the rest of the application season or
Okay.
looking ahead.
So while everyone's stressing out, I know you're all waiting for your offers and freaking out. I remember I was doing the same. The coolest thing about this program is that you have actually until, I mean, I could tell you the real deadline, but I think I'll give you when you should apply by. I would say by May, no later than June, we should be receiving all your documents for application, just because of, especially with the things this year and delays and anything, you want to get all your documents in by June at the latest, but very, very latest. Don't wait this late. Mid-July even, you can apply to both of these. American Collegiate, you can apply as late as mid-July. The pathway, you have to apply by June 1st, just so you know. All your documents need to be in. So you have even later for the collegiate program to apply. So what that means is this: don't think that's because the program is not as, the value isn't good or it's not a real program. It's because we know this isn't your first option. We get it. I'm totally fine with being a backup, but this is an awesome backup option for all of your students and all of you that are applying to these top destinations directly. If you don't get admitted directly, don't give up. Don't feel like you've lost hope. There's plenty of time. We make deadlines later because we know international students need programs like this. There's no shame in accepting a great program that's great for you, and it's going to produce a great outcome. So think about this as a great option for you. It's there based on the results you get directly. I hope you get your first choice, but I also would be super happy if you come to our program, because it means that we can get to meet you.
Right. And, of course, if you do the American Collegiate, you then have another shot at, well, first of all, you're already attending a great school, and then you have options to apply to other ones, probably from a stronger position, almost certainly from a stronger position than when you started, for all the reasons that you said.
You just said it exactly. So what Kieran said, if you all remember that, he said it absolutely brilliantly, is that think of this as your second chance to go to that top destination that you didn't get directly admitted to, and you still haven't given up on that dream. And now you're in a better position to be admitted because you're a transfer student. So
right.
Perfect.
And just to clarify, so you're saying that up to, at least partway through the summer, you can still apply through these programs for the fall for.
Correct. For fall.
Okay. Yeah, which is, if you are a junior or a sophomore or a parent of one of those watching, that is very late. At this point, right now, if someone has applied, they're waiting on some decisions, but they have applied to everywhere. They have been through several rounds of applications.
Correct.
That is an amazing. I think saying it's a safety net is to sell it short, but it is several layers of options to catch you and give you opportunities at top 100 or even higher.
Yes, and remember, President Obama was a transfer student. So if I go back to this example, through this program, let me give you a scenario. Let's say you want USC. It's your dream to go there. And let's say you're declined. Sorry, you just got your rejection letter, right? It's March. Let's say you got declined early decision 2, just for example. You could come to American Collegiate DC, do a year of credit, right? And then transfer if you do really, really well. Fingers crossed, go to a school like USC. Your degree says USC. It doesn't say transferred from American Collegiate, American University. It just says the final diploma. The transcripts are all transferred, into USC. Your degree's from USC. So there literally is no trace almost that you were a transfer student. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but universities know transfer students are trying to transfer. So this is the ultimate second chance with a better percentage of getting into your dream school.
Right. And, there's practical reasons for that. Of course, you're, as someone who has been both in high school and college, your performance in high school is a predictor, can help schools guess about how well you'll do in college. But there's a reason why there's such a high attrition rate, like you said, after the freshman year.
Yep.
My valedictorian of my high school went to University of Colorado. You know, he had a 4.0. He was #1 ranked, 2 sports teams, and he flunked out his, I think, first year. He got a 1.0 or something like that. And, you know, and compare that to someone who does not great in high school, maybe has an excellent GPA after their first year, they're a much safer bet for a school to bring into slots they already need to fill.
Yeah.
So if we don't have any more questions, well, I just want to say this has been really, really helpful, Eric. This is it's both complicated and not complicated. I think, you know, boiling it down to, you have these 2 options and more with the LA program for people who intend to stay at American University, which is an excellent school in a really wonderful location. You'll get the support to help you do that, and you know, you'll be able to apply now or in a month. And the other one being, you get your second chance at top 50 or even better schools, and worst case scenario, with a decent GPA that should be totally achievable, you're still in a top 100.
Totally.
But you know, of course, there are decisions that lead, as you were alluding to. It's not just you decide on these 8 schools and then you decide on 1 school and you apply only there. These programs are some you should definitely consider, and maybe consider it. You know, think about now if you're applying next year. You don't have to make the decision now, but to the top, we will help you through this entire process, deciding which programs are best for you, helping you react to unexpected decisions from colleges, and help you produce your best materials to hopefully get into your top school on your first shot with scholarship. You know, absolutely perfect situation, which does happen. But more often it is a really long and complicated and challenging process with a lot of decisions and a lot of really attractive options like these to weigh. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go to our website, which is tothetopeducation.com, and you can find more info about our services, more information about me, more information about the rest of our leadership team, and how to get in touch with us. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Eric, before we let you go, or is there anyone else who wants to jump in and ask one last question?
I'll add something if no one has a question. Let me know, Kieran, if there are questions.
All right, I'll let you know.
I would just say, you know, to everyone, to have a resource like Kieran, who knows the system inside and out, and has been there where you all are now, is a wonderful opportunity for you to know exactly what Kieran and I went through, you know, in our application process. And there is no one right place to go for each of you. So that's the beauty of this program, is that, especially in Collegiate, if you're thinking about different destinations, each of you has your own path. And what we try to do is tailor the curriculum and the advising so that you can figure out what's best for you. And that's something that I would follow Kieran when you're thinking about where you want to apply. This program gives you an opportunity to choose what's best for you, not what's best for mom and dad. Sorry, mom and dad, if you're on the call, not what's best for your relative in the US or your cousin or your brother or your sister. This is about each of you finding the best destination for you, whether it's American University or somewhere else, you know, top 50, top 30. And I'm happy. What I was going to say, Kieran, is anytime, if any of the students or parents or anyone wants to follow up with me, I'm totally fine. Anytime, anywhere, really. Chris can tell you on the call. I'm happy to answer calls anytime. If someone needs more clarification on the program, that's no problem at all. It doesn't have to end here if people have more questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one takeaway in general for anyone at any stage in this process of applying to colleges, making decisions. And even once you're in college, you still have these transfer decisions, stuff like that. So we're here to help you. Eric's here to help you. I did want to give one quick shout out to 2 of the schools that have these transfer agreements with American Collegiate, meaning that you more or less can go straight in if you meet these certain requirements. Louisiana State University is actually my doctoral institution. I'm currently a graduate student there and will be getting my PhD this summer. And University of the Pacific is a school I visited in October last year, and we have a video from about 2 weeks ago about Louisiana State University.
That's great.
If anyone's interested in that, which is also has some similar options, not American Collegiate, but also has similar accelerator pathways.
Yep.
And University of the Pacific likewise has similar pathways, both excellent schools, and all 3 or 4 that we mentioned today, very different. So if you have any questions about those, you can get in touch with me, or get in touch with the team at To the Top, and we can help you through them. I don't think we have any other questions, so thanks everyone for attending. Please check your emails or get on our email list if you're not already on it, so that you can learn about future webinars like this and other resources we have. We're going to keep doing them. We're going to keep talking about different schools you should know about, all the way up until it's time to actually start putting your applications together. And we'll have a bunch of different events and videos for that as well. Thanks again, Eric.
My pleasure.
I'll be in touch with you, and I look forward to hopefully hearing from some of the people who are watching this right now, or watching this recorded. I'll talk to you soon.
Best of luck, everyone. Thanks so much, Kieran. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a great night.